What's going on, guys? Aaron from Top Tier Gaming here, and today I'm coming back at you with another live duel featuring me on the left with, again, Madolche, and my friend Patty on the right, who you probably know from this channel. He is on the Shark deck, or Kragen. Yeah, it's a really cool deck, and this is the first time it's being featured on the channel as far as a duel is concerned. Madolche's been on it a couple times, and yeah, we're just going to get started with this game. Now, I am on the left, so I'll be able to, commentate how my thought process was while this was going on. And going into it, I don't have much experience against Kragen or Sharks with Madolche, as we're going to go ahead and roll to see who goes first. I don't have a lot of experience with the deck. I played it once in a local tournament before this against Patty, and I did pick that one up 2-0. But there wasn't a lot of, interaction going on where I actually got to learn the matchup. So this was still a pretty early time for me. So Patty actually won the die roll. He's going to go first, and I believe he just sets 3 and passes, which immediately has me worried that he has some really good back row back there that I got to play around. I'm going to start my turn off with a petting cessor, which is, Madolche's strongest starter. He's going to check and see if he wants to use, I believe he set an imperm for sure. I know what all 3 back row are, but to leave it sort of hidden, I won't reveal them all, but I do believe he has an imperm. He chooses not to imperm the petting cessor, so I go ahead and special summon pudding cess. Pretty standard, but I don't normally like going for the full Madolche combo going into chocolate a la mode when I'm staring down 3 back row. Questioning if your opponent has a hand trap is very different from knowing your opponent has 3 potential ways to stop your combo, and if they stop chocolate, sometimes the deck just folds. So I'm actually going to make a slight misplay here. I go into battle phase immediately, and I swing with pudding cess, and I attempt to activate her effect, to which I realize I can't, because I was like, oh wait, she has to battle a monster, which I don't know why. I thought it was kind of like Hayate for a second there, where I could just swing, and after damage calculation, if she attacked, I could use her effect. I quickly remembered right after doing that that's just not how she works. So my play is definitely a little slow here. I know I have an Angeli in hand that I could continue to play with, but I am afraid of Torrential Tribute at this point, so I go ahead and cut my losses and say the teacher's good enough, and sort of not play into any detrimental back row, which teacher is not super good at interrupting the Shark deck because their graveyard isn't very important to them. But it is very good for not losing a monster to Kragen. Your teacher is safe, at least from Kragen, because she can make herself unaffected by monster effects. So Patty's going to go ahead and start off with a Botuniful into the Shark, Buzzsaw Shark, that's his name, and then he activates Ready Fusion to special summon the rare fish, and then with the Buzzsaw Shark, he's going to special summon Right Hand Shark, which is a really good monster, at least as a 1-of in the deck, because it can keep coming back if it's engrave, and it also has the nice effect that the monster equipped with it can't be destroyed by battle, so this is really good for a lot of things in the Shark deck. Patty just thinking on what his next play is, whether he wants to go Bahamut Shark, because that's the only Xyz monster that he has readily, a good Xyz monster you can go to that can run over the teacher, or if he wants to go straight for Kragen. It's a little bit more difficult of a choice because teacher makes herself unaffected by monster effects, or any Madolche monster you target, but he's going to actually activate the Kraken, not targeting, but trying to destroy my teacher. I use her effect targeting herself to protect, and then he chains Imperm trying to negate her to make sure the Kragen resolves, to which I chain Promenade because teacher detached Petting Cessor as cost. So I'm able to Promenade the Petting Cessor back to hand, negate the Imperm, and this sort of resolves with Kragen doing nothing. So a really good chain for Madolche's side of things. I think with that, Patty's actually just going to pass his turn. Oh wait, he actually spends some time deciding if he wants to go Zeus here, because Zeus is definitely a very powerful card. I don't know if this is a situation where I would go Zeus. I believe that's what he's thinking about. It's been a while since I actually watched the footage, but maybe we're just talking about the game state at this point. But yeah, Zeus is a potential option for him because he could swing at teacher and inflict some battle damage to himself because she is in defense mode, and then he could make Zeus if he wanted, but you're losing a lot by doing that. So it's going to pass to me, and and I'm going to activate the Petting Cessor we added back to hand, to which he activates Gozen Match. And this right here, the second I let that Gozen Match resolve, I have made the biggest misplay of this game. Like, once you see what the back row I set is, if you saw it in my hand earlier, you already know what it is. Once you see what it is, I just made the gravest error here, and it's so bad for me. So he's going to activate Kragen as I'm trying to go battle phase, to which I activate Teacher to save herself. And then we're going to use her other effect to shuffle back the Promenade and the Petting Cessor, the Pudding Cess, and I swing over the Buzzsaw Shark, which is really good. And now my thought process is I need to make Zeus, right? And if you can't tell why this is a bad thought process, by the giant Gozen Match on the screen, yeah, once I reveal this back row, it's all going to make sense because we had game 100% of the time. I'm going to infinite impermanence his Kragen, and now I'm sitting here like, okay, so I'm not waterlocked with the Kragen Gozen Match combo, which, if you're unaware, essentially I can't summon because I don't have any water monsters to summon because Madolches are all earth. The second I imperm this Kragen, my brain was like, wow. And here it is, I try to summon Zeus. I'm like, I'm not locked anymore because I can summon things that aren't waters now. Which is true to an extent, I can summon my earth monsters, but I'm still under the effects of Gozen Match, obviously. So what I could have done, and why it was game, and why the infinite impermanence was such a bad misplay, was if I just imperm the Kragen when he activates Gozen, I chain the imperm, my Petting Cessor resolves, I can go just full Madolche combo with the Angeli in my hand, get all of my spells and traps, tiramisu his back row back, and that's just game, because, spoiler, the set card Patty has on the field right now is actually a bluff instant fusion. So he has no interruption. We could have gone full Madolche combo there and just absolutely gone for an OTK with getting multiple spells and traps. So that's a huge misplay on my part. The game was just wrapped up right there that turn, but I just didn't think far enough ahead, and it costed me a lot because now we're still playing this out. I activate Small World, revealing Petting Cessor, and this Small World is actually another misplay. This game right here, it's more of an example of how not to play Madolche. I go and I grab Pankratops here, but I think grabbing a hand trap would have done me better. I know why I grab Pankratops. You know, I know that it's an out to the Gozen Match, and I know that Kragen can pop my cards. So Pankratops makes sense in the sense where, you know, if he pops my stuff, I can summon it next turn and out multiple things on his board. It passes back to him. He uses Kragen's effect to pop my chocolate. Makes sense. I take 1250 from Kragen's effect. Patty goes ahead and activates the White Mirror. Now, see, if I grabbed Ash instead of Pankratops, we could have ashed the White Mirror, which would have ended his turn. Like, if I grab Ash or Valor, there was a lot of things I could have grabbed there that would have been really good, particularly Ash. And yeah, it would have been absolutely amazing, but we grabbed the Pankratops, which is going to prove to not be as great as I had hoped originally. So a couple of misplays here on my part. Again, that infinite impermanence play on my part, the Madolche side, was just such a bad misplay. Like, in Yu-Gi-Oh, there are misplays where, you know, you end up in a position where it's harder to win, and then there are misplays that lose you the game, which the imperm was a lose a game level misplay. So Patty went ahead and activated White Mirror, a super powerful card, you know, for the fish deck. It's so good, recently coming out of Brothers of Legend. Just being a special summon and a search is so crazy and gives the deck so much power. And of course, the Gozen Kragen lock is, you know, I'm still under the Gozen Kragen lock. Now, Gozen Match doesn't hurt Madolche almost at all unless Kragen's on the field. Like, Madolche often play Gozen Match, but when you're forced to summon waters because your monsters on field turn to waters by Kragen, oh, it's tough. So Patty's gonna go ahead, use Buzzsaw Shark to special Silent Angler, and then make Bahamut Shark. Then normal summoning the Buzzsaw Shark, he searched, and he's gonna swing for 6,000 damage. And then in main phase 2, he's going to activate Bahamut Shark's effect. He gets more damage by using it in main phase 2 because Bahamut Shark can't attack, you know, for the rest of the turn after he uses that effect. He's going to summon Toad, and now there's a lot of cards I have to play through. I do have Pankratops, which is very powerful, so we're going to go ahead and special him. And at this point, it's kind of tough because he has the Totally Awesome, but obviously I could just swing over that. but it's interesting because I can't let Kragen pop Pankratops. So kind of no matter what I do here, I can swing with Pankratops. He Kragen targets, or not targets, but Kragen effect, to which I have to chain Pankratops, to which he can totally awesome. So I swing at the Kragen, which can't be destroyed by battle, which isn't like, it's not the best attack target, but it doesn't matter who I attack there, because he can always just use Kragen's effect, forcing me to chain Pankratops or I lose, and then he can negate it with totally awesome. So I'm going to pass there. Yeah, that was pretty bad on my part, I'll say. I will say this game, between me and the Shark deck, definitely the worst I've ever played on Madolche. When I was rewatching this footage, I just noticed all of my bad plays, which is something really cool about recording your own games, or like, going over your own footage, is you can see your misplays and know what to do the next time and what not to do, more importantly. So I open a hand of 5 Madolches, which is super powerful. It's not, that's sarcasm. I go ahead and summon the Magdalene, search the Petting Cessor, and it looks like everything's resolving. So either Patty didn't open a hand trap, the Shark player, didn't open a hand trap, or he's opened Nibiru, which, unfortunately, because I drew 5 Madolche monsters, including the Pudding Cess, which I special from my hand, I can't really play around Nibiru in this hand. I kind of have to go for it. So I'm going to try to go for full combo here. So we're going to go Glass Souffle, target Magdalene, just in case he has Nibiru. I'll have something stick. Go ahead and use Chocolate's effect, sending back the Petting Cessor, detaching to special the and Jelly, just standard Madolche combo. I'm going to special the Hoot Cake, use Hoot Cake's effect, banishing Glass Souffle, and we're going to special, of course, Messing Gelato. Now, very similar to the first game in the fashion of how this match went, I'm about to misplay, and I think I was kind of tilted from the first game. I definitely knew I misplayed somewhere there. I'm going to grab Chateau, so I can sort of go full Madolche combo, right? That's the normal combo, is you grab Chateau, so you can proc Chocolate again, special the other Mess and Gelato, and get another search. What I failed to realize the second I used my Mess and Gelato effect is I opened 5 Madolche monsters, and one of them was Mess and Gelato. So I'm sitting here looking through my deck like, where is he? I looked at my hand, there he is. So huge misplay, because what this means is, because I messed up by searching Chateau first instead of Promenade, is I'm not going to get Promenade at all, which is very bad. Huge misplay again on my part. In fact, this match right here, I think I could just put an alternate title, How Not to Play Madolche, because game 1 was, bad on my part, but it wasn't really a Madolche mistake, it was more of a imperm mistake. But yeah, this was definitely a Madolche mistake on my part, just forgetting the Mess and Gelato was in my hand. I'm still going to end on a decent board, but no Promenade is attached to it. I'm going to use Chocolate's or Teacher's Effect to target the Pudding Cess and the Petting Cessor, and both go to my hand because Chateau is on the field, and I'm going to pass. So we started with like 5 Madolche monsters in hand, and we ended with 5 Madolche monsters in hand, which is funny. Patty's going to go straight into battle phase and activate Evenly Match. Now, if I had Promenade here, this would be, great for me. I'd just negate the Evenly Match. But because I misplayed my combo, now we're going to have to play after being evenly matched, which does make the game much more difficult. I just spend some time here. I activated Teacher's Effect, targeting the Hoot Cake, because he can't be destroyed by battle, so now he's pretty much indestructible except by spell and trap card effects. It does take me a minute to decide what I'm saving, because obviously I don't want to lose my Chateau forever. But I do decide to save the Hoot Cake, which might be weird. I'm starting to think Sistart's the better save there, just because Kragen can very easily out the Hoot Cake on the following turn, but Sistart is very difficult for Kragen to out, and the Shark deck in general. It's very hard to out Sistart because she has a continuous effect to save herself. And I failed to realize that in this game, is how good Sistart actually is, which again is a lack of the matchup experience on my part. Sistart's going to come up again in this game, and yeah, I'll just explain that when I get there. Patty's going to go ahead, special summon the Lantern Shark, which specials the Buzzsaw Shark, and then he's going to activate the Ready Fusion. So going full Kragen, like, I don't want to say combo, but if you can end on 2 rank 4s, that's definitely like your better hands in the control variant. Patty is on the more control variant without Xyz Remora and without like any way to search him, or the Vespinato in the extra deck. He's playing a much more control version with more traps. So it doesn't always end on like 2 rank 4s or even some crazier stuff like F-Zero, but it's still very good, ending on Toad and Kragen. It's a very powerful turn for the Shark deck here, because all I have is a Hoot Cake after being evenly matched. And even, Patty activated Desires earlier, even if we Promenade the Desires because we don't know he has evenly match, and he decides to activate that first, we still stop him from drawing 2 cards, which is huge, and we get resources back, which is very, very good. So even if we didn't negate the evenly match with Promenade, we still would have gotten a lot of value on the card, and it's just a shame that we didn't search it, and that is, again, my fault for not realizing Message Gelato was in my hand while I was, you know, trying to full combo. Worked out very badly for us, and he's going to go into Kragen after deciding what to make here. He decides just, you know, this is the board he wants because, I mean, it's really good. There's no reason to make like a second Bahamut Shark in my opinion. I'm going to start my turn with a Ticket, which is very good because it sort of insulates us from the Kragen effect. Like if he pops or negates a Madolche card with one of his cards, we're going to get some value off of it in the form of a search, unless we have a fairy on field and then we get a special summon. So a Madolche spell is a very good draw here. And it's actually the first card we've seen in our hand that isn't a Madolche monster. So I'm going to start the turn by activating Hoot Cake. And I'm thinking with this hand I can still out his board. But he does reveal the Ash Blossom here. And while I think my hand could have outed his current board, the addition of the Ash makes this much more difficult. So I'm going to normal summon the Angeli, to which he says it's fine. Use the Angeli effect, he says it's fine. Which I think is a misplay on his part. Because I'm going to make a play here. I'm going to activate Petting Cessor, to which he again says is fine, which I think is another misplay on his part. I don't know what his hand is currently, but at this point I have 2 Madolche monsters on the field. If I make Sistart here, I'll have like 6 Madolche monsters in grave. I can swing over his Kragen, which isn't like the greatest thing in the world to swing over Kragen, but you know, it's like fine. If I make Sistart, she is pretty much invincible. It is very hard for his deck without a card like Infinite Impermanence or, you know, a card like Chalice or whatever he's running in his list to negate Sistart first. It is very, very hard for his deck to actually out her. I mean, she is just pretty much invincible with 6 Madolche monsters in grave. But instead of the Sistart play, because I don't realize how good it is at the time, which is, again, another misplay on my part, I'm going to go for Tiramisu, who I know is going to get popped or negated. So there was just no world where this is the right play. I definitely should have made Sistart. I wouldn't have been able to out his board, but every time Sistart would save herself, she would put a Madolche monster in deck, which procs the Ticket, which can store up advantage for me until I have enough to actually make a huge push. So he would have had to resort to Zeus or to draw it out to Sistart. It was just overall the better play. And I didn't make it. Tiramisu gets popped. I take the damage. And at this point, there's really nothing I can do. Terrible plays on my part, especially in Game 2. Game 1 as well. I misplayed a lot. Sorry about that. Madolche gave me everything I needed to try to pick up the win here, and I just didn't. But congratulations to Patty for picking up his W. The Shark deck is very, very cool. One of the favorites of mine, and I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, feel free to like, subscribe. It really helps what we do here. And this has been Aaron from Top Tier Gaming. Bye, YouTube.